Interchange Corden, brought to you by Rexona Men, providing you 72 hours of anti-perspirant protection. Today, we have got an absolutely ripping show for you today, as we seem to do every week these days. We've got the man, the myth, the legend, Connor Rogers, Footy Show panellist, radio star. He's done it all, and he is up for a solid chat for us today. So without further ado, I think we get straight into the round review, lads. Kick us off. Oh, it's me. I'm kicking you off. So today we start the round in at the Gabba this week, and it was the Saints and the West Coast Eagles, my team. I was very up and about early for this game. I knew if we won, we would make finals, and it was back and forth game. We started hot, the Saints, and we just let them absolutely run amok in the second quarter. We didn't score a goal, and they scored about 3. And that just carried out for the rest of the game. Although we did have a short surge in the fourth quarter, getting ahead by roughly 10 points, but West Coast just got the job done in the end, and St Kilda failed to execute, leaving them a massive task against the Giants this Friday night.
I'll lead on from there. The next game we had the Cats versus the Tigers. Tigers showed their class. They are the real deal this season, doing it without quite a lot of key players. It was a pretty poor game in the end, very low scoring, about 57-31, I believe. Tom Hawkins struggled to have an impact, and Geelong still got a few question marks over them if they can really deliver in the finals, but Tigers looking class, heading in, peaking at the right time of the season.
Exactly right.
Yeah, Richmond are hard to beat when they're in their full flight. Moving on to the next game, North versus the Dockers. Now, Dockers, they've found some good form in the last few weeks. Their game plan's starting to come together, and they absolutely taught North a lesson, winning by around 60 points. Their forward line was just looking absolutely class. Hogan kicked 4, sorry. Young Lockie Schultz kicked 3. Tabernar kicked 3. Everything was just turned on for them. And one of the best things was, in the past years, all the media talks about after the Dockers game is how good's Nat Fyfe. He had an absolute cracker again, but the media, they're talking about how good the Dockers are as a team. They're really bringing it together, and it's good signs to see, and hopefully next year they're going to be pushing for the 8.
I'll lead off. Next game, the pair, a.k.a. the Port Adelaide Power versus my Dons. Now, I'm currently wearing the shirt I wear to funerals, and that's what it feels like for the SNFL Club today. 15 years deep, and we may as well go back, play in the local league, to be honest. It's an absolute joke. First of all, the ball skills were absolutely atrocious. I know it was wet, but come on, boys. Dana posed no threat. The backline had no idea what they were doing. Brandon Zerk Thatcher on Charlie Dixon. You may as well set him up for execution. 20 kilos lighter. But Port showed their class. Robbie Gray was great. Tom Rockcliffe, their whole midfield, and of course Charlie down forward. Skills were just way better. And Essendon are in the bin.
Exactly right.
Yeah, even their own coaches, even the coaches throw them under the bus. So they're in a bit of strife. Moving on, Giants versus D's on a Saturday night. It was actually a cracking game in the end. There was being goals scored from every area. The human meatball, Freddie Daniels, kicked 3, kept the Giants alive. But in the end, the D's got up by 5 points in what was an absolutely must-win game for both clubs. And Melbourne, they didn't have the amount of inside 50s the Giants did, but we took advantage of our opportunities, and the Giants, on the other end, had no chemistry between the midfield and the forward line, which proved costly for them. But anyway, that keeps Melbourne's finals chances alive and just about puts Giants' finals chances in the bin, which Giants didn't deserve to play finals. Melbourne would arguably not to deserve to play finals either, but, I'm not complaining, obviously, if you make it. So that was the Saturday night game.
Yeah.
Can I just add on to that? The Trent Rivers kick, great goal. But can the ladies please get off him? Like, you've gone on Bailey Smith for 6 months, and now you're on Trent Rivers. You don't watch the game. You don't even know who he is before this week.
Jeez.
Sorry, I just had to put that
Call
in.
out to all women from H there. Moving right along to the Carlton Blues and the Adelaide Crows. Adelaide actually getting the job done by 16 points against the Blues. And I'll tell you what, in the first half is where all the damage was done, with Adelaide going into the half with a 7-goal lead over the Blues, which I don't think anyone saw coming. We knew the Crows were up and about in September, some would say. But
Hashtag Crom.
but yeah, they just really surprised Carlton and just come out of the blocks absolutely guns blazing. Carlton had a mini surge after half time. Adelaide only kicked 2 goals after the half, whereas Carlton kicked most of their score. They had a nice surge at the end, but Adelaide's convincing start to the game really it was just enough to get the job done over the line for the Crows. So they've had a good end of the year. The Crows are causing some disruption to the ladder, and hopefully they don't finish last. Geez, the Crows, they're playing some all right footy and they're showing a lot of promise.
Next
Be
game
an absolute uproar if the Crom got over the Richmond this week. That would just be
I
saying.
imagine.
It would be a Barney.
Are we going for Crom this weekend? Next game we had Hawks first, the Doggies. And the Doggies, gee whiz, how are they not in finals? That's
They
my
are in
opinion.
finals.
Well, they're not guaranteed yet. But they look the side. They just struggle to get it done against. They lose easy games. But they've got so much depth in their midfield. Dominated all game, especially early on against the Hawks. Got up to about a 40-point lead at half time, and then just carried it on. They've just got so much depth. If Bond's not having a good game, or McRae, there's Hunter and Dunkley dropping 30-plus disposals. Their forward line's looking quite conventional with Norton and Co up there, and they're doing some damage as well in the back line with Caleb Daniel, the best kick in the game.
Yeah, he
So
had a
good win
ripper
for the
game.
Doggies, pushing for finals.
Yeah. Now moving on. Sydney versus Brisbane. This was one of those games where both teams probably would have been happy with the outcome. Brisbane ended up getting up by around 30 points, but Sydney fought hard and were looking a chance for a lot of the game. But Brisbane, they locked their spot in the top 2 for the season, in the top 2 of the ladder, and that they deserve that. They've been pretty consistent all season. They haven't really had any patches where they've been out of form, so that's good to see for Brisbane. But Sydney should be happy with the result. They're making a nice little finish to the season, which should set them up well next year. Tom Papley finally got back on the goals. He's been a bit quiet. So it'll be interesting to see if Tom Papley makes the All-Australian team. But more importantly, Tom Papley staying at Sydney was a big call.
Big news coming from the Swans this
They'll
week.
need a small forward because they won't be having Elijah Taylor anytime soon.
Elijah Taylor.
Well said. And to conclude the round, we had Collingwood playing another game on Monday night, and it was against the Suns this time, and it was a quite hot contested ball game for the first 3 quarters of the match. Collingwood, they haven't been playing the best of footy, and Gold Coast, well, they just keep on climbing up the ranks. So it was a very close game with the lead changing quite regularly throughout the first 3 quarters. But I was watching the game, and there was a very, very defining moment when you knew Gold Coast would win, and that was when I don't know his name, but he played on in the goal square and he got tackled, resulting in holding the ball. That would have put him in front, but instead Collingwood went end-to-end, kicked the goal, and that just told the rest of the story for the game. Gold Coast showing plenty of promise, but their lack of class and the lack of polish just not good enough for the experienced Pies side, coming out on top by 22 points in the end. And that, I think, concludes what was a big round in footy, and what's shaping up to be an absolute massive round of footy this weekend. And we'll get straight into the round highlights coming out of that. Deez, what have you got for us?
Now, this is just as much a talking point as it is a highlight. While there is highlights intertwined within it, I wanted to go over the dribble kick this week, because this week we saw one of the greatest dribble kicks, and it just shows the pure artistry of the oval ball. Brett Daniels, hemmed into the pocket, throws it on the boot, dribbling along the ground. The commentators thought it was going to go through for behind, and then all of a sudden it just catches, and it just spins on the 90-degree angles. Oh, and it was just a pleasure to watch, even for a D's fan, like the opposite team. It was just a special moment. It It was just something that the game just has, which other games don't have. But then the next week during the Crom game, I think big Elliot Himmelberg, the ruckman, tall forward, gets the ball in space, goes for a little trot, and then decides in a crowded forward line to just try the dribble kick. And let's just say it did not work at all. It was just one of the moments where you just think, oh, goodness me.
Absolute stud card.
It was. Yeah, the cats come around, but it's all happening.
It is all happening, and some might have to start calling you Jason Dunstall if you're going to start analysing the dribble kick like that. Hey,
leave that to him.
What's your highlight for the week?
My highlight for the week is actually an interesting one. I don't know if it was a highlight, moved into a low light. It was Gibbs getting chaired off by Cade Simpson and someone else I cannot remember.
Mark Murphy.
Murphy, that's it. After Gibbs played his last game, I thought it was great. Even though great sportsmanship, even though Carlton didn't get up, it was great to see that his old mates cheer him off. But during the week, Caroline Wilson on the Sunday Footy Show came out and said it was a bad look for the club and those two blokes. Get a grip. This game is meant to be a fun game. We take it way too seriously. Come on, Caroline. It's their two mates. At the end of the season, both teams weren't going to make finals. It doesn't matter. Yeah. I know they lost. It does not matter, though. Come on.
Caroline Wilson would be very fun at pop.
It was funny to see, actually, on the YouTube clip of that, had 2 times as many dislikes as likes. So the AFL community was definitely getting around Gibbs and the Carlton blokes.
Yeah, good to see the AFL sticking it to Caro. And my highlight for the week also came in the Carlton versus Crows game, and it was a pretty average game, to say the least. But Patrick Cripps provided one hell of a spark for the Blues, ultimately beginning their second half surge. And he just weaved his way through the pack. I think he went around the back at one stage, I'm not sure if he did take a bounce. He ran quite a way with it, but he ran into the forward 50 after weaving through an absolute convoy of Adelaide Crows players. Comes in from 50 out on a pretty tight angle, and he just slotted it. It was a classy goal from the Cripper. So that's our highlights for the week. With that being said, I think we have to get the big man in himself, big Connor Rogers. You would have seen him if you were around that early. You would have seen him on the Footy Show. He was an absolute star panelist. And we'll just let him tell his story. We'll let him in to the show at the moment. Hopefully he's there.
Get rid of the bloody cat.
Please get rid of the cat. How you going?
Never better, mate. Feeling on top of the world now that the headphones are finally working. But yeah, I think I'm coping better than most with the situation at the moment.
Yeah. Oh, that's good to hear. Well,
that's the way.
Yeah, we'll get D's now stuck into the question.
Stick in the footy talk for now, and we're going to go straight to the Blues, your AFL team of choice.
Baggies.
And we just want to know, what have you thought of the season this year? Obviously, bit of a sour end to the season, but what's your opinions on it all?
Well, firstly, it wasn't a team of choice, unfortunately. I came out of the womb and I had a navy blue Guernsey on me by my old man, but I'm happy with the decision, but he apologises for it every day. This season, look, to be honest, a little bit disappointing. You give them a few exceptions given everything that's happening at the moment and key injuries to blokes like Charlie Curnow. But the consistency is worry. Our best footy is as good as anyone, I think. But I think the stat was something along the lines of, I could get this wrong, but from Teague's 30-odd matches in charge, we've conceded 5 goals straight in 15 of them or something like that, which probably isn't good enough. But there are plenty of good signs. But I've been a supporter for 22 years now, and I've had plenty of good signs, and I want to see consistency.
Yeah, couldn't have said it.
You certainly the green shoots are still sprouting, which is good. But where do you see them in the next few years?
Well, next year we need to make the 8. I think it's as simple as that. We've been waiting for long enough. I think that'll be the pass or fail mark. And then the year after that is when I want to see us really start contending, you know, top 4. So next year, if we're not in the 8, it's quite simply not good enough, I would have thought.
Yeah, it'd be if they don't make the 8 next year, I reckon Carlton fans would become quite restless.
Yeah, I was just going to say, especially if we land a couple of, you know, we're rumoured to land a couple of big fish, especially with freeing up the space from Cruiser and Simpson on the outer. I think if we can land a big fish, whether it be a Zach Williams or a Sard from Essendon, even Crouch from Adelaide, any of these sort of players, some mature, ready bodies. We don't need any more draft picks. If we can get some ready-made players, it'll go a long way.
Yeah, well said.
Yeah. Keeping on the footy theme, now your team, the Banyul boys, how's it been the last couple of years? The Bears. We had to bring them up. Bit of resi football we hear about. How you been going the last few years?
Yeah, nah, mate, I'm a resi footballer and proud. I was actually spewing this year because I've always been a fat little back pocket player, carrying too much weight and can't run. But this pre-season, I shredded all the weight. I lost 10 kilos. I got myself from 20% body fat down to 8%. Dead set, massive effort. I was ready to rip in. I said to the coach, play me on a wing. I'm ready to start owning my own footy. And then some fucking, I don't know if you heard about it, but there's some disease that's come over from China.
Oh, really?
And it's shut on my dreams. But yeah, no. I'm surprised you haven't heard about it. It's been doing bits. But yeah, no. So I've been plugging along. We haven't made the finals the last couple of years, but I think we're building nicely into something big, hopefully.
Yeah, that's good to hear. We'd love to hear more about the Banyul Bears down the track and some success.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we'll move on from footy and discuss just a bit of your current career and where it stands at the moment. We understand you're into a bit of radio. Could you just talk us through how you got started and what motivated you to get started into the media, YouTube, radio?
Yeah, great question. It's a lengthy answer, but I'll try and do it as quickly as I can. When I was in year 7, my passion for the media started when I went on the footy show. I saw you lads posted about that earlier. But
we'll touch on that
playing
later.
for the Banyul Bears. Yeah, all right. Well, I was on the footy show, and that sort of made me realise how much of a difference the media can make in people's lives and how much of a change it can make. And I always had that in my head. And plus, I was never good at anything at school. I dropped out of maths in year 10. I wasn't good at anything other than talking shit. And then got round to year 11, and my best subject was media by a mile. And my media teacher was a ripper bloke who used to work at SEN. So then I started volunteering at SEN. He got me a gig there. And I fell in love with the industry and went to radio school, Radio Training Institute. It's no longer around, unfortunately. But I graduated from that. It's where I sort of, I also did community radio station and a joint called SIN, which is how I got to know Caden properly. Yeah. And away we went, and I've been working at KISS ever since, but just trying to get me voice on air now.
Yeah, beauty. Yeah. So, yeah, while you say that, what are your plans for the coming 12 to 24 months coming up? Getting your voice on air would be pretty big.
So, yeah, unfortunately, once upon a time, if you're on the street team, which I am now, there was a quite legitimate pathway to getting yourself on air. Some of the great radio hosts at the moment, such as Cole Sanderland, started on the street team. However, now they're starting to hire ready-made people, or more people like athletes, like Sev and Brownie, or people like Big Brother or a show like that. So my next step is to move regionally to, say, Shepparton or Bendigo or wherever else Tasmania to do Brekkie Radio out there. But unfortunately, my biggest downfall is that I have more FOMO than anyone else on the planet. And if I was in a regional town developing a drug addiction while all my mates were still here going to day parties and festivals, I wouldn't cope. So I've given myself at age 26, I'm going to move out and do Brekkie Radio. However, in the meantime, I'm doing a Bachelor of Media and Communications at RMIT to bide time and get some more tricks under my belt.
Oh, yeah. I'll add something in here. Your time, I think it was at KISS. Heard a bit of a story. You're at Anaconda doing a bit of a thing with, I think it was Caden, outside Anaconda.
Yeah.
and you decide to get your face painted, and then tell us
I don't know
after
where
that.
you've I don't know where you've heard this from, Harry Deluxe Small, but we were at a function, and me, I like to get involved in all of the festivities. So for the big opening of Anaconda, we had fairy floss, we had face painter, we had ice cream, and I thought it'd be a good idea to get a big rainbow colour butterfly on my face. So it was a very, very sort of colourful, vibrant, exciting face painting, but it was very feminine. Long story short, I'm getting my face painted, I have my eyes closed, and Caden goes to me, because she's painting my eyelids, Caden goes to me, you wouldn't believe it, Rod, but the Carlton boys have just rocked up. I said, very funny, mate. He goes, no, I'm not taking the piss. Will Fetterfield and Matt Owens have just walked through the front door. I said, you're having a laugh, and I told the face painter to stop painting. I've opened it up. There's Will Fetterfield standing straight in front of me, and I've got some big, bloody rainbow butterfly on me. I was looking like an absolute spastic. But,
Oh no.
they saw the funny side of it anyway, and we ended up having a really good chin wag and a laugh.
Oh, that's good to hear. And we probably got that story from Caden himself. We've been in a bit of discussion with him about you, and we've heard another story.
Yeah.
He's told us you actually emceed a event for Richmond Football Club with the great man Matty Richardson. Can you confirm or deny this?
Yeah, I did.
Oh,
Yeah,
how did that go?
Actually, this was somewhat of a career highlight. I just got a phone call one day and said all the Richmond lads, it was the big boys, it was Dustin Martin, Tom Lynch, might have been Josh Caddy, someone like that. They're doing a table tennis tournament and they need an MC for it. Richo's one and they want another one.
Oh.
Would you like to do it? And I said, bloody oath, I'd love to MC a table tennis tournament. So I went down with Richo. We had a ripple laugh, and it was my job to come up with the chant for all of the players. So I'm a loyal Crystal Palace fan in the Premier League, and I've just copied all of their chants, implemented the Richmond players' names, and I had a ripple laugh with the players. I think Dustin Martin was starting to get a little bit annoyed at me continually chanting his name. He doesn't like the spotlight too much. But other than that, it was a record time.
No, that sounds awesome. And you're probably asking for it. We'll let H lead you into it, but you know what's coming.
2011, mate. Daniel.
Yeah.
We'll show for people who haven't seen the Instagram. If you haven't followed the Instagram already, what are you doing? The Interchange Corden on Instagram. But we'll put a clip up now.
It was so impressive last week. I think Facebook, Foss and Twitter and emails have gone absolutely nuts for his return from the Banyule Bears. Make him welcome Connor Rogers.
Welcome, boys. We normally start with the big guns, but we're going to start with you, Connor. It's great to have you back, mate.
Yeah, thanks, Gary. It's good to be here.
Speaking of girls, Connor, since you've been on the show, have you had a little bit of extra attention from the...
Well, I had attention before I went on, but after there's a little bit more as well.
And Connor, that hairstyle you're running with is very Gary Lyon-like. Have you modelled it on the great man, or...?
Well, it's the only place where I have hair, so I'm not like Gary.
You're a young fella coming in. What was your first thoughts getting on the show? Because your confidence levels were definitely there back in the day.
That was sky high.
Getting into Gary Lyon.
Yeah, well, I was a young, chubby little virgin, and the story goes that we hadn't. The year I went and joined the Banyule Footy Club, I didn't know anyone there. I only went to play with my cousins. But the year I went, so did 20 other people. And they divided into a ones and the twos. And my cousin was in the ones, I was in the twos, and we're all classics. We'd all never played before. And we got belted by 100 points every single game for 2 years straight. And that's not one word of a lie, it's not an exaggeration. 2 years straight. We had a couple of girls in our team, because this is before girls footy, and everyone was taking at school. Because we're in the bottom division, black division, 2 girls in the team, belted by 100 points. I was getting the piss taken out of me non-stop. Rock up to the third year, rock up to training, and there were only 5 people at training, and this happened for a month. We only had 5 people at training, and then the club said, if you don't get a team together within the next fortnight, you're going to have to fold and all find different clubs.
Oh.
So we pretty much gave up all hope. But I thought it'd be, I'd throw a Hail Mary and write a letter into Sam's mailbag. So I wrote a letter in. I made it a little bit funny, and I asked for him to get all the players to come back. He read the letter out, and everyone came back to the club. He gave us all personalised boots, and they got me on the panel a few episodes running. And after that, we went from not winning a game in 2 years, goals by 100 points, with the exact same team, with the girls in the team and whatnot, and everyone just improving. We won the premiership the very next year, so they got us back.
Oh,
again.
jeez.
Probably.
Yeah.
Sam Newman came to the grand final. We were three goals down to love in the grand final at first quarter, and the team we played beat us by 8 goals on 2 different occasions during the season.
One of the great stories.
Mate, it is, and we came back to win the grand final by a goal. It was most unbelievable. I get goosebumps talking about it now. But when I actually went on the show, here's a funny story for you. I was getting on with everyone like a house on fire. You know, I was talking to Gary Lyon and Jimmy Brayshaw, Billy Brownless. Surprisingly, one of the most ripping blokes was Damien Barrett. And they were all giving me heaps. Brownie giving me plenty. But the one bloke who pretty much didn't even acknowledge that I was there was Sammy Newman. And I thought I thought he really is an asshole after all. There you go. It's not just an act. And he was avoiding me, and I thought he's obviously just a grumpy old man. I thought he didn't even know I was meant to be on the show. But he didn't talk to me for hours beforehand. And then we were standing at the entrance, and they go, and the 300 gamer from Geelong, John Sammy Newman. So they've done all the intros, and they've introed Sam Newman. He still hasn't spoken to me. And right as he's about to walk out, he turns out to me and he goes, "Now don't fuck it up, Connor." And then we go from Daniel, Connor Rogers. I walk out going, "What? Sammy just told me not to fuck it up." But then after that, it was the best bloke in the world. He gave me plenty. It was just that beforehand he wanted to do that little gag. But I couldn't speak any more highly of Sammy. He actually was the one who gifted me my start in media, gave me my passion. And I wouldn't be playing out Daniel anymore if it wasn't for Sam Newman. And it's given me all the best memories of my life, really.
Oh, that is an absolute pisser. That is such a thing. It's such a thing you'd hear him do. Just that's a classic. Oh,
All right, you'd be knocking on the Hall of Fame board for the Banyule Bears by now, with the season resurrection.
Yeah, mate, it's funny you say that. You know, I put the club on the map. You know, I'd say. No, I'm joking. I'm taking the piss. I'm hoping to get a little white membership soon. We'll see. But I couldn't speak any more highly of the club. If anyone watching this potty, which I'm sure is millions, looking for a new home.
Oh yeah, no, you'll have your C. Rogers on the honour board in no time.
Now, my room has started to smell a little bit fishy around here because other than obviously your big career highlight of the Footy Show, you've made a few cracking videos, including the food innovation video of the sushi. So I've brought in a few sushi rolls.
Yes. I hope you use the correct technique, the preferred technique for eating sushi, the optimal technique and the only technique.
Yeah, so that's what I'd actually love you to talk me and the whole audience through the best technique and the most underrated technique on how to have your sushi. Because this is a big topic.
This would be my pleasure. So we know the conventional method, as most people do eating sushi, you do a little bit of sauce on and then you bite, right? But the major issue is that it makes eating sushi a two-hand job. And we're living in 2020. We don't have time for that. The other issue is that it doesn't give you an even layering of sauce throughout the whole sushi. So what you want to do, mate, is you want to turn it horizontally, as you have there.
Oh.
And we're going an injection method. So you pick 3 different points in the sushi, you inject it in, give it one squeeze, take it out, then you, at 3 different points, you squeeze it in equally. And what you've got there is a perfectly seasoned sushi from top to bottom. And then all of a sudden, eating sushi is now a one-handed operation. You can be on your phone, you can do whatever you want with the other hand.
Oh, man.
Right now,
Let us know how it tastes.
Oh.
Got the Rexona in there.
Oh, if that's not a perfecly seasoned sushi, I don't know what is.
Can we get a close up on that, Deez?
I've got to say, you're 100% right. This is an absolutely elite method. I can be
give it
smelling
give
nice.
it-
Can we get
Repping the
a
sponsor.
collective round of applause, lads?
We get a collective round of applause.
For the.
That is absolutely, that is extraordinary. I have not heard of that.
That is.
You might have
Hopefully
to.
this can.
You might have to add world-renowned food critique to your list of honours. But that is.
I do it for the people.
Oh,
I do it
that
for
is
the
brilliant.
people. It's not about me. It's not about a title. It's about making sure everyone eats sushi optimally.
We'll move on to the segment, quick fire questions here. Just a few life questions, important, the most important questions you'll ever hear of your life. Now, you can lead us off here, Plunkett.
Yes. Sorry, just had to collect my thoughts for a bit. It's a bit of a staple piece, and it's the fast food question the world wants to know: KFC or Macca's?
Mate, I'm actually a vegetarian, believe it or not, and
no.
McDonald's. They recently brought in the mixed veggie burger, so I have to go Mickey D's. KFC don't have a veggie option.
Well, you've turned the tables on us there. Did not see that one coming. So there goes the question for your there goes the question for your go-to order too, the McVeggie burger.
Correct.
All right, moving on.
I actually rate the garden salad at the McDonald's. I've seen a few of my mates going for it. Heading into summer, they're trying to trim down on the weight.
I've been a veggie for over a year now, and not even I have tried the garden salad. So I'm very surprised you've.
Have a crack.
You just go the chips any day, the side.
Yeah, exactly right.
Correct.
These.
All right, moving on. Hot or cold Milo? It's a bit of a hard one.
Hot every day of the week.
Hot.
You know what? When I was a kid, I was religiously a cold man. I like when you have a little bit of chocolate up the top, you scoop it off. But now if it's a hot beverage before I go to bed, maybe while I'm reading a novel, a hot Milo.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, I mean, well said. Yeah.
Look, I've got to be honest with you. I lied about the novel bit. I didn't read. I just said that.
Another one. You've done a bit of comedy in your day. Comedy or radio?
If you offered me successful stand-up comedian or successful radio host, I'd probably go to stand-up comic, because the feeling you get when you get up and do stand-up comedy is an adrenaline rush like no other. But I'm gunning for radio, but comedy is fun to do on the side.
Yeah.
We can certainly see you doing a bit of both at once in the radio, adding it in.
Absolutely.
Now, the biggest question of the whole show so far. Well, we had I think a few months back now, the People's Playlist, the biggest event on the calendar. Now it came down to the big kids or Dancing in the Moonlight, and the kids got up. It was very controversial. In your opinion, who did you believe should have got up?
So firstly, those two songs weren't worthy of the final. It should have been My Delirium by Lady Hawk, which is one of the all-time feel-good songs. That should have been in there, and that should have been winning the grand final. However, if I had to pick between Dancing in the Moonlight and Kids by MGMT, it's Dancing in the Moonlight. There's no better feeling than when that comes on and everyone's feeling the love.
Yeah.
But Kids by MGMT, it was voted by the people, and it's the People's Playlist, so I can't really argue with the result.
Yeah, nah.
I'd have to agree with you there. I did put my bid on Dancing in the Moonlight. A bit more of a vibe.
Yeah, as did I.
Absolutely. Plus, with kids, the two variables for people that don't know about the People's Playlist is a graph. It has to be above a 7 out of 10 on the fuck I haven't heard this in a while variable, and a 7 out of 10 on the elite track variable. So we're looking for really good throwbacks that you haven't heard from a while. And Dancing in the Moonlight, I think, fits the bill a lot more than Kids, which is an elite track, but I feel like you hear that all the time. People are always playing that song. So I think Dancing in the Moonlight was a more deserving winner on the haven't heard it in a while playlist variable as too. What I say just quickly, Harry D. Luxmore, the Nike headband you're running, I'm a massive fan of it, mate. I reckon it's doing heaps for you. I just wanted to let you know that now.
Oh,
Yeah, nah, it's an iconic piece. Got to have them all times.
It is.
oh,
As
brilliant.
we're growing out the mullet, so it's gotta be showing it off a bit.
Well,
Beautiful.
I think that actually concludes our segment with you. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show this evening.
Has been a
Oh,
pleasure.
thanks for having me on, lads. By the way, lads, I just want to say that I was surprised that you're only in year 10 because you are actually, this has been done real well. I think you're all really good at what you're doing and you're going places. So keep at it if this is what you want to do because you've done a mighty fine job.
Oh, thanks a
Yeah,
lot, mate. We'll keep that
hopefully-
in mind. And,
Hopefully
yeah.
after COVID we can get it going in real life. That's the
Yeah.
goal.
Yeah, it would be ideal just to
Absolutely.
keep
I
this
hope to see you down the track. And we're all doing the same thing.
going. Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
we'll have to catch up in the future.
brilliant.
Absolutely. Cheers, lads. Much appreciated.
Thanks very much for coming on the show.
All right, catch you, mate. Leaving now.
Cheers. Oh, what a classy act. And don't wrap up like you did last week.
That was a good chat. It was very.
Brilliant chat from the man, the myth, the legend. Just got so much out of him, and you could chat with him for hours. He's a brilliant bloke. And before we conclude the show, we've got to give a plug to the Rexona men. I've been in constant communication with the Unilever brand, and if you're out there, get in touch, please. With that being said, I think it's been an absolutely ripping show, and the show is only going up from here. We are getting some big names in the coming weeks, and going into finals next week. It will be a massive couple of weeks ahead, so make sure to stay tuned. Make sure to like the video. Make sure to comment what you thought, and above all else, make sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. So with that being said, I think we will see you in the next one. H Hitty with the sign off. He sprays the camera. D sprays the camera. I'll give a bit of sprayage, and with that, we'll see you in the next one. Cheers.